Simon & Schuster AudioWorks presents Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh man, I know how it feels to be to win the lottery now. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, let me rephrase that.
That would be very
I know.
lucky.
I know how it feels to not necessarily be lucky, but have a modicum of like good fortune, and seeing other people struggling to work to get the same level of good fortune, and in my brain going, sorry, couldn't be me.
Yeah.
Hey, I made it. I made it. I'm done.
Kicking the ladder, you know, you're like just like.
I'm not kicking the ladder, but I'm looking down the ladder and I'm thinking
they're not gonna come up.
It feels good. It feels good to not be down there anymore.
It feels good, yeah, and hopefully I'll never be back down there again. You know. What'd you get? What'd you win?
In Final Fantasy 14, there's a funny mount you can get in the new expansion of a capybara.
Okay. Yeah.
To do it, you have to get. I saw somebody in a Discord make this analogy. To do this, you have to beat a boss in the overworld.
Yeah. A
and
capybara.
You get 6. No, it's a big snake.
Oh, okay.
You get 6 like currency things, 6 tokens basically. You gotta beat him twice to get 12 tokens minimum. You have to beat him twice, and then you can go trade those tokens for a capybara.
Yeah,
that you can ride around.
Was there like a chance element involved? Why is this difficult? Okay.
Yes, because there are lots of people trying to do it right now. So the way it was described to me is that you got to think of this boss appearance like a package, okay? So the package says it'll arrive 3 to 5 days, okay?
Okay.
That's the window that it will arrive. That's the boss's window of possibly appearing.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean it won't arrive on the 3rd day, but it definitely will arrive by the end of the 5th day, right?
Okay.
So you have to basically keep checking it, which is doing the fates leading up to the boss, constantly to make sure that it hasn't already arrived before the 5th day.
Okay.
But by the end of the 5th day, it will definitely arrive. So you have people doing the 4 fates that lead up to the snake appearing constantly because they're trying to get it to spawn within this window. So you gotta be on your toes. I'm in like this Discord and it'll ping me. It'll say, "Hey, this thing's up," and then I just go over there. But the problem is there's hundreds of other people also trying to do that. So as soon as it pops, I'm like, okay, switch server, go to a place, change instance, get over there, try and join a group. So if I die, I can get healed up.
Yeah.
And fight it. And while I'm doing this, I did it pretty handily today. And since then, I've been looking at the chat of people discussing it who haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And there's something in my brain just going, man, I'm glad I'm not there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
man, I feel so good to not be them anymore. You know?
I did the only time I can think that happening to me is when I was playing when it was still popular players on all Battlegrounds or whatever. Yeah. I opened like a single crate. I opened a single crate and I got a coat that was worth like 300 quid out of it.
There you go. See? Yeah.
It didn't feel like anything because, I just got the money. It wasn't like I could compare it to anybody else because I didn't wear it. I immediately sold it as soon as I got it, you know.
Like, personally, I felt good the rest of the day. I had a lovely day. I went out, I walked, got some lunch. Did the rest of my work for the day. Excuse me. Keep coughing now. I don't know why.
Yeah, maybe there's someone cursed you because they noticed that. Yeah.
Damn, fuck. Nothing is ever easy, is it?
So someone saw your good fortune and they decided to fuck with you. You know.
I'm worried I'm gonna be this way if I like win a little bit of a lottery.
Yeah,
I win a lottery and I get like I don't even get like the jackpot. I get like 50 grand or something.
Yeah.
No, like an amount that's going to make a difference, but not an amount that will like drastically change my life, I guess.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
What,
If that's going to happen, I'm going to be like, damn, feels good to be me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I'm not like these little broke, the little people anymore.
Brokies over here.
Yeah, I made it. I made it by good fortune.
And then you see that money just starting to disappear month to month. It's just that number is getting smaller every month, you know.
No.
Yeah. So would you say that maybe you would actually be desperate to keep that money? Like you'll get desperate, you know. You'll be, you know, it's like my great grandma used to say, you know, people that have money have to worry. I don't.
That's exactly my point, man. That's exactly my point, because I'm going to have to do this all over again when the next expansion comes out. It's just going to run the exact same way. But I don't realize that now. That's my problem, is I have a thing in my brain saying, man, you're better than them, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You put in the work, by which I mean got there quick enough.
Got there quick enough.
Got there quick enough.
A bot tell you go there, and then
and straight up, I was relying on other people to run the 4 things beforehand.
Well,
and then I profited off of their work.
You're like you're like in Indiana Jones. You're the guy that tries to that kills Indy and does get the thing at the end. You know.
I'm the small business owner in a local business. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy that rents out trucks. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm living good.
Yeah.
Look at me. I can eat a cheap steak every other week.
Yeah, but nobody else. But everybody respects you. You know.
Yeah, and I pay my workers like crap. But that's because I can, because
bullshit.
I need a bit off the top for me.
Yeah,
I need an extra £100 a month.
I made it. You know.
Yeah. To me, in my brain, that £100 is like a million miles distance between me and the lower people.
I was smart, you know, like that's what you say. I was smarter, therefore I deserve this for the rest of my life, you know.
I did what nobody else was doing.
But yeah, anyway, that's really, really cool. But welcome everybody. This is Dead Ensigns, the number one.
I feel like there was more to
yeah,
there, but never mind. We're moving on now.
We can continue the riff. I just have to do the intro at some point.
The flow now.
Yeah, I know. Number one, small business advice podcast. I think that's
yes,
that's
but do not take any advice that is.
Oh no, this isn't financial advice whatsoever of
just
any
in
sort.
Case. Like, it's funny to say it, but also at the same time, you know, just cover your bases, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta make sure that, you know, nobody goes, I did what you tell me.
I don't believe anybody will follow my advice, but on the 0.00001% chance somebody does, for the express purpose of being able to claim I led them astray.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to, you know, I'm going to feel silly if I don't say it at that point.
Yeah, a typical small business owner will do this, you know, just to spite us, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I would. Judging from how I feel now, I don't know, maybe I would.
Mm-hmm.
I can't trust myself anymore. I'm a broken
being. It's like, you know, and like...
I don't know what I'm going to do next.
We spoke about it too many times, but in Doomed City, you know, like... Andrioja, you know, he's like, I don't know, like he was a devout like communist, and suddenly he's like, oh yeah, I love being a fascist, you know.
I love my book. It's like at the end he's like, while I don't agree with my ex-Nazi overlord dictator, he is giving me benefits.
Yes,
so
he is.
Who's to say if he's bad or not?
Yeah, exactly.
We're all working hard on our big social project together, building a giant thing. I can't remember if they ever go into detail with what they're being forced to build.
I think it was like just this big statue. Everyone just had
to do a statue.
Like they had to do an hour of labor every week or something like that. It was like
you
really
had like
weird.
one shift a week of doing labor. As a social project.
Yeah, as a social project.
You know, he was like, hey, it's awesome. I've married the lady who was in my apartment, and also I'm having an affair with my secretary.
Yeah,
What more could I want?
What else? Yeah,
So
and then there's
who's
the
to
guy
say
who...
whether the guy who used to be a Nazi, who is now the leader of all of us, is bad. I don't know. Did he stage like a coup and overthrow the government? Maybe.
Yeah,
but...
exactly. I love there's like whether he hears like a news, like internal news of a guy blowing himself up.
There's a guy in the front of the building. Well, he hears it. No, it's not. It's in the front of the government building. That
and then they just tell
the
people that they tell people that it was just someone carrying dynamite. And they just fell over and it just exploded. And I was like,
it was Andre's old boss at the newspaper who was like, this shit is bad.
This shit is bad.
This is not good. We're not in a good situation.
And I'm going to do something about this. Yeah.
And then later on in the meeting, your Katzman is talking about how their society doesn't produce any art.
Yeah,
they don't have any creatives in their society.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a good book. It's a very good book. And it gave me a crisis a little bit at the end of it. I was like, maybe I would have done the same. Like, I was like, maybe I would have fucking do this too.
The inherent chaos of humanity, Mm-hmm. It's hard to know whether you'd really do something until it's right in front of you.
Yeah, exactly,
Because there's so many different... It's a bit like, maybe I'd do the same. I don't know. You grow up and you have ideals, and then suddenly the situation sort of changes, and you're like, well, maybe it's easy to be like a dogmatic. Maybe it's easy to be dogmatic when you're younger and you have less to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you're looking at, do I side with the Nazi or do I die? And you're like,
interesting choice.
Well,
yeah, but it's.
But I definitely wouldn't.
Yeah, but he wouldn't. And like,
I would join him and I'd steer him in the right direction.
Yeah, I would be the good one. I would fix the
We're going to elect Biden and we're going to push him left. That's the idea, Max. We're gonna get him in and we're gonna push him left.
Yeah, of course, because he's so old.
Yeah, exactly. Because you need to remember, man, he's only gonna be here one term. He's only gonna do 4 years, and then we're gonna. Oh no. He still wants to keep going. Oh, they're saying he shouldn't go, but he's saying, over my dead body will I not run?
Why am I a fucking idiot? Why am I a weak man to not
We shouldn't get political.
Yeah, those are not politics.
We don't live in that country.
It's fake. It's all fake over there. Like, it's fake. It's all fake.
Not real. It doesn't have any say in any of our lives.
Yeah, it's a TV show.
One of the main characters is a celebrity, after all.
Yeah. They had to get a big name for one of the people running,
Yeah. It was a good comeback as well, because before everybody was just like, he's just some washed up reality star.
Yeah,
bam, look at that. Now he's the most compelling villain in the world.
It depends who you ask, Sometimes it's like, it depends who you ask, is he a villain or,
Sometimes your Nazi dictator that came in charge without any of your say, and you don't have anything to do with it. Sometimes he dangles like a little expedition that you've always wanted to do in front of you. And you're like, well, maybe I go on the expedition. Maybe I bring a bunch of guys, and turns out there's nothing up here for us. Oh, would you look at that? Behind us is only failed civilizations.
Yep.
But we march ever forward. The experiment is the experiment and whatnot.
And then we meet other people and they kill us.
Yeah. They do. Well, they come to the end, and the implication is it's themselves, I feel like.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I always got the vibe that the people on the other side are mirroring them,
Yeah, I guess it's just humanity in general, I feel. Like, not even themselves, it's just people like us.
And then we go again.
And then we go again.
Max?
Yeah?
It's that my Beatles journey is done.
Yeah, I know. I also listened to a little, to Let It Be. And I also watched the little documentary, Let It Be.
Did you
That was
watch any? I was watching Get Back.
Nah, I
I called it Let
It
It Be by mistake, but I started Get Back, and I found it very engaging.
Yeah, Let It Be is more just archival footage. It's nothing.
That's what Get Back is. Are you sure we're not talking about the same thing?
Is there several episodes than one? Yeah, if you're saying there's more than I just watched one episode that was like I watched a thing that was like 2 hours long or something like that.
Did it? So was it about the lead up? Was it the Peter Jackson thing?
No, did they start with like an interview?
No, it starts with like a montage of the Beatles' history leading up to Get Back.
No. It's not that. Then I watched something else. It's just like I think it's just a remastered thing, right? I think like it's a movie they made. No, Let It Be. Particular.
Okay.
It's like a movie of them like making Let It Be, and they're just like it's just them in the studio like just complaining and talking, you know.
Let It Be, the 1970 film.
Yeah, so I watched like a remaster of it that they made for Disney because it was this year because it was 2024. That's what also threw me off because I was like, all right, so I think Ben means this because this is also from this year.
No. So what I watched was they had all of the footage from that, you know, or that they recorded over the course of like 2 weeks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Jackson took it and it was restored and edited by Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
As like a long immersive thing where it's not really a documentary, it's just watching the Beatles, like their creative process essentially leading up to the culmination of their career, I guess. It's
like from the Let It Be, like do they show them on the roof and stuff like that, like doing the concert on the roof and like that's what they do in this.
I only watched the first episode of Get Back.
Oh, okay, so that's why.
But that's the thing, we're getting lost in the weeds here because we're not actually talking about the album.
Yeah.
And my final verdict on the Beatles mix.
Mm-hmm.
I take back everything I said.
Okay.
Vindication.
Okay.
They can do whatever they want. You know what? Maybe they all did something fucked up at one point. I heard John Lennon did some fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? He still shouldn't have done it. From what I understand. I'm not gonna say he's vindicated in that sense.
Yeah, okay.
But on the allegations that the Beatles are overrated, the common thing that somebody says, like if you were like me, you hadn't really listened to them.
In your past life,
you'd heard a couple tracks and you're like, they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Scratch it. You gotta listen to it all, and you're like, oh, now I get it. Because like I got to Let It Be, and you know what? I love these guys. I love their music.
Yeah.
I'm a Beatles.
What's your favorite song on Let It Be now? Is Let It Be your favorite album then?
I think Let It Be might be my favorite album. This is the first one that I fully was like, I think this is wall to wall tracks I like. Get Back is probably my favorite song on the album, possibly my favorite Beatles song in general. But there were a couple songs that let me get it back up. The Long Winding Road is one that makes me feel very. It really gets
a good song.
It gets you a bit. At least it gets me. I was listening to it again today, and I was like, "Damn, I'm feeling a little emotional." About the long winding road.
Yeah.
I me mine, I me mine, I me mine, I me mine. That song was awesome.
Yeah.
This all I like it all. I can't think of a song on here that I'm like. It's got the titular "Let It Be." Everybody knows "Let It Be." It's one of the most famous songs ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't. What more can I say about it? It's a fucking good song.
Yeah. I've listened to it, and I think I've listened to so much Beatles throughout my life, and doing this again, I feel like I had a bit enough of the Beatles, honestly.
You've had enough now?
Yeah.
But you've had a longer exposure to them
that's
than
the
I
thing.
have.
That's the difference between you and me. Let It Be. Because that's the thing. It's like, I feel like I moved on so much from that, you know.
You've already they started as a cornerstone, like a base stone for you.
They did, yeah.
And you've evolved from
listened
there.
to it. Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas
and
I've sort of
I appreciate the Beatles and their creativity and the they make some great songs, and even this album, like especially like the Long Winding Road and stuff like that. I don't know. I can't listen to Let It Be anymore. Like for some reason,
I mean, even me,
Yeah.
I've heard that song enough
Yeah.
times in my life.
Yeah, exactly,
as
that
it
you're-
is. I'm not
that-
gonna listen to Yesterday and be like, "Damn, I am
Yeah.
experiencing this song anew."
Yeah,
I've heard that
exactly.
song a million times already, even
Yeah.
though I wasn't a Beatles guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hey
But
Jude,
yeah.
all that stuff. Everybody's heard these songs a million times.
Yeah, exactly. And at this point, I think in my lifetime, like a little bit like, my taste moved on so much,
It's
from that.
understandable. That's understandable.
But as
I think this
music,
is still kind of like in
It's
my
still-
wheelhouse of the kind of
Mhm.
music I enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's still clicking with me, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like this is less in my, like, they kind of moved away a little bit from what I liked about the Beatles, honestly, in this album. Like, that's the thing, that's the kind of ironic part, is that they went, like, I don't like any of the, like, beginning stuff, and then the psychedelic stuff I really enjoyed, and then they moved away more into, like, this kind of rocky stuff again, which I enjoyed less, and then like the psychedelic era, so like that's why that's
You like
one
the
of the
acid
reasons.
stuff.
Yeah, I do like the acid stuff. I really
Not George
do
Harrison with his Hare Krishna guy in the corner watching.
Kind of, yeah, exactly, and it's,
I think you should watch the Get Back documentary. No, I keep saying
Mhm.
documentary, but I don't know what else to call it. Not so much that it'll
Archival
give you a new appreciation
compilation.
or anything, but I think
Mhm.
you'll be interested to see how they got here, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
Because it's not like, I imagine the documentary probably has them explaining themselves, but there's not a lot of explaining themselves in the Get Back film, because it's just like,
Yeah, no,
you're just
it's,
watching them work stuff out, and kind of argue a bit and joke, and it's like, that's the revelation I had watching it, was like, these guys probably shouldn't have stopped jacking off with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I think if they kept doing that, even though they weren't on tour, I think they would have lasted a lot longer.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. Hey,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Bazinga.
I can't jerk off anymore without Paul,
Can't do
John
it.
Lennon there anymore,
need
and
John.
George.
I need John here. If I'm gonna jack off, I need John.
Yeah, I need to get the creative juices flowing again.
And that's why it all went to shit when Lennon died. Because it's like, well, now there's no way to go back to what we had.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's gone.
The chain
that
link,
guy took it from us,
the
John
circle
Hinckley.
jerk, the circle jerk. That it broke. It's
It
like
did.
a chain.
It did.
It's like
It was,
you can't rebuild it.
They took a chain out of the link, and now it just doesn't hold anymore.
Yep, exactly. And
doesn't
it's
hold anymore.
like for the documentary, like they go over, like, I saw some of that stuff, but I feel like, I don't know, like it does feel really interesting to kind of, because like I've never been into like be there around musicians when they create. I never had that.
No,
sort
I
of
haven't. I've
experience.
never had that either. I've never been around people who are jamming.
Yeah,
jamming.
exactly.
And
And
you like jamming too.
So I would be interested in what it looks like compared to other people, other musicians that create it.
Sure,
But like, there's a part where George Harrison, he's like talking to Paul McCartney, and Paul McCartney is just like, dude, like just go like this, or like he says like something, he tries to describe something.
Yeah.
And he complains to George about like, you're not doing what I'm telling you to do, and he's like, George is like, Paul, just tell me what to do. I don't know what you're asking me to do.
There's a bit of that in the Get Back thing where George Harrison is like talking about not as like an interview, but he's just talking to the other members about how like he can't freestyle,
Yeah.
He doesn't really have the kind of guitar playing where he can just like start going and then like it's like he needs a destination,
Yeah.
It's
Which
interesting.
is interesting.
It's interesting.
And it's also interesting that they're talking about, like, I wonder if that's something they spoke about before, or is that just something that's coming up now? Especially like, because like I can't imagine that not being like something that would be not an issue, right? Because it's not an issue. It's just as a way someone creates, and you have to work around that, right? But like, how is that something that they're just talking about now? Sort of thing, But yeah, it's I like there's like a bit where George and Ringo are doing the Octopus's Garden Under the Sea.
Sure.
It's like they're doing their like, and they're like bouncing ideas off of each other, and it's really nice to kind of see them like so much. It's like different energy, when they're like together, just like Ringo is like, yeah, that's interesting. Like he's just like accepting, and George is accepting of what Ringo says. It's like, oh, this is nice,
they definitely seem like the two most chill ones.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like maybe like Paul and John were like big personalities, so they were like,
that much is clear.
Yeah,
it's interesting as well. If you watch the Get Back documentary, how it is very stark. You watch it and it's like, damn, Yoko Ono is literally always right next to John Lennon.
Yeah, I also know, even in this,
like there's not even a point where it's like, oh, she just goes off to do something. They're literally always together. So it's like, I'm not gonna say that Yoko Ono caused a rift in them. I think that's silly to say that she was a cause, because I think it's just building. It was just building up over time anyway. But I could definitely imagine it just kind of it being like, is she really gonna sit there the whole time?
Yeah, it's like really, it's like, because I was like, oh yeah,
Yoko Ono, you get used to it.
Yoko Ono is there, and then she doesn't say anything.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not like she ever chimes in. It seems she's like, literally just sitting there.
Like, and it's really like because like I don't
don't
want to judge people's, like, because that's the thing. It's like their relationship in the end, right? That's what they're both accepting. They're accepting that, like, they're together, so they're accepting the fact that this person does this and this person does that. Like to them, and it's like, do you really not have anything else to do? Like, like just like I would just
really
be like
they
bored,
were
like,
like,
man,
they really were like soulmates, man. They were like, completely.
What's it called? Like
codependency?
codependent? Yeah, codependency.
Maybe,
like,
I don't know. I don't know if they were like that. I think they were just like weird guys, both of them. I think they both were like just very intense. I don't necessarily. Maybe they. I don't know. I can't define codependency exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And
you know what? Mostly getting here made me come to terms with.
What
is that ultimately? Fucking, when you get to this point as the Beatles, it must fucking suck.
What, falling apart? Like, so?
No, the opposite. Like, the fact that it's like, imagine being like so young you come out the gate with your magnum opus.
Oh, you mean
imagine being like 22 and then you get to the point where you feel like you've skipped over the part where you get to kind of really discover what you want to make. Because at the time when you like start to get into like, oh, I want to do something a bit different and a bit more like I'm pushing a bit more, against what people expect of me. Nobody wants it. Nobody wanted it. They would. I can. Although it's like there's a part of it where it's like, but they were millionaires. So it's not a big deal. They have the comfort to be able to experiment and not really care. At the same time, there's an aspect of like, even if you get to the point where you like really nail the kind of sound you want to explore, you know deep down nobody's gonna give a fuck ultimately in comparison to what you did when you were like 23.
Yeah, and like your scale of success is like. Like it's warped, because it's like
it's so strange.
I'm making this really good stuff now, but like you look at the for example, like the record sales or something that they're saying it's like this is like a fraction of what I sold, Let It Be sold, like Yesterday sold, like Abbey, like and it's like, how do I judge my success? But I have to scale back my my kind of expectations, right, of like what a success is, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like
It's
we have to
crazy,
do that
man.
all the time, you know, like because we got such a successful,
We have
podcast
such a
here.
successful
Yeah.
podcast. We want to
So
do stuff experimental, but we're afraid of hurting the brain. You know? It's hard.
It's
But
so
I
hard.
just can't imagine, man. It would be. It's like, yeah, you got such a good safety net because you're a fucking millionaire from writing some popular songs.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, if you really do just have like a very creative spirit, a very creative mind,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, I trusted that the Beatles were really like. I'm sure the money was nice, but I think ultimately they were all like creative people.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You know,
They were all
yeah.
invested in creating good art, not just stuff that sold well.
Yeah.
When you come to the other end of that and you're like, I don't want to do the Beatles anymore, it's really like, are you really going to spend the next fucking, 50 years of your life creating for yourself only?
Yeah.
And a small subset of people who will be into it?
Continue support you. So
So on the
support your
one hand, it's
creativity,
like-
right?
I think you got to get to like 35 when you do that. If you've got in that point when you're like
Jesus, okay.
28, that's the point when you got to be like, oh fuck, man.
Well, that's the thing. That's what you do is
gotta
from
weather
that
it.
point. You no. You stop. You stop. You're like Michael Jordan. You know.
Yeah.
You go from basketball to doing baseball. You know, and that's.
Yeah.
But he never, succeeded at becoming a, successful.
Yeah, but I
baseball
think
player.
that was more
But-
because he was a little crazy and he was
He
like,
was
I will
all but
probably be the best at this as well. And then he
Yeah,
wasn't. And it's
definitely.
like, oh, okay.
Oh shit! This is like a completely different fucking
yeah.
game, honestly.
I see.
you know? And then he was in Space Jam, and he had to walk through his life.
Yeah, he
you know,
he
his
had to make fun
roadblock,
of that aspect of his life.
in Space Jam. You know, and
He had to overcome it. It was a spiritual journey for him.
Exactly. He needed Bugs Bunny there.
He
you know,
needed
to help.
Bugs and Daffy to help him through. He needed Yosemite Sam and Porky Pig to help him through that crisis, that existential crisis. And that's the issue. Paul McCartney and John Lennon, they didn't have Porky Pig or
Yeah,
Daffy Duck to help
exactly.
him through. They had the guy who piloted the Yellow Submarine. He's not a help. He's not good help. He was panicking all the time.
He
That
was
dude
all.
sucked.
He was. Yeah, he complained all the time.
He was always like fucking crying about the Happy Land or whatever, Pepperland.
Yeah, Pepperland. Yeah.
Pepperland. That dude
He was
sucked,
like,
man.
we can't be staying in this weird lands. We gotta get to Pepperland as fast as possible to save her. He's like, oh, what's
I
over
want to see
there?
this land. Look, there's a weird big monster over there. I'm going to go say hi to it.
Yeah.
Oh, Ringo is always trying to say hi. And then he gets eaten by the monster. And they're like, let's do a little detour.
Such a good
Man.
movie.
You know what? I turned around. Fuck the Beatles. I'm
Okay.
siding with the conductor of the Yellow Submarine now. That dude had a heart. He was like, my people are dying. And they were like, let's go to the fucking whole ocean, the ocean of holes. What's that over there? Let's pilot the submarine over there. He's
Yeah.
like, motherfucker, can we save the blue meanies are killing us? Do you know what a blue meanie does to people like me?
Yeah.
You know what they do?
You know,
Yeah,
you don't want to
sad.
meet a blue meanie.
You don't want to meet a blue meanie on the field of battle.
Uh-huh.
They're relentless.
They're relentless.
They think
You see-
nothing except for
Yeah.
killing.
You look into their eyes, and there's nothing behind those black eyes,
There's
full
nothing
black
there, man.
eyes.
There's nothing there. They got big fucking things. They got big fucking sharks that
And
fly
they have
around in the sky and eat you.
And they have apples that they throw at people for some reason. I don't
Throwing
know.
apples at us, man.
It's so fucking
Throwing
stupid.
apples. There's
Yeah.
like these dogs with 3 heads. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, you had the hand that was
That's
like eating
crazy.
people.
Let's go
Yeah.
get my friend George. He's playing the sitar.
Mm.
Oh, these guys are the guys that are gonna save my country.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
I'm so fucked.
Nah, fuck.
But then they did.
Beatles.
They did it, you know? In the end,
Yeah.
they did it.
They did
But-
do it, but only because it turns out there were 4 identical people in Pepperland.
In Pepperland, the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Shot Band or
Yeah,
whatever.
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Yeah, so, but
Oh, the
yeah,
Beatles.
but the
Yeah.
Beatles, that's the end of the Odyssey, right? Because, no,
That's
I guess.
it. Maybe I'll check in
The
because I'm
Odyssey.
going to finish this Get Back documentary because it was interesting.
Yeah.
It was good. I was enjoying it. I might do a couple other things if I can be bothered. We'll see. But at the
What do you
moment,
mean,
but
like
now,
other Beatles
well,
stuff?
yeah,
Or
I don't
just...
want to give it away. All right, other
No, yeah.
Beatles related things I can talk
Okay.
about in the future, but I don't want to give it away.
All
I
right.
don't want to give it away.
I'm looking forward to it.
There's one that I could even invite you along if you felt like it.
Yeah, you're thinking you're gonna. I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna see a big yellow submarine there, and you're like, Max, come with me,
brother.
Yes. Get in, bro. Get in.
Yeah, we got Paul in here. Not
Yeah.
John. He got shot. Remember? He's done. He's dead.
He's dead.
He's not coming back.
I got
It's
his
like
son
in
here.
the Dark Tower.
Mm-hmm.
John Lennon
Yeah.
is dead. Elvis is dead. Some other people are dead. I can't remember.
Internet is dead.
The wheel of car, etc. Anyway, that's the Beatles. Max, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I was
That's
cooking.
cool, man. Me too.
I was making dumplings. I was making
Yeah.
some gyoza. It was good. I made them, and they were delicious.
Yeah.
You know.
What
They
did
were
you put in
delicious.
them? What did you put in them?
I put just like pork and like spring onions and
Some beans.
what are they
Crushed
called?
up
Like
Doritos.
Doritos, yeah, of course.
So maybe some
M&Ms.
some M&Ms. Crushed up M&Ms. Empty some pixie sticks in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds delicious. Dude.
Like just cookie dough, like that cookie dough.
Ooh, well, that's what you
cookie dough.
use for the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
use
that's
like a
why
very thin
as
cookie dough
as
for
the wrapping
for
for the
dough.
dumpling. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then they were delicious,
Oh,
and
that
now I'm
sounds
gonna.
so good.
I ate 10, and now I'm gonna fall into a diabetic coma. As my body shuts down as it
My
can't
sweet
process the amount of sugar. Sweet dumplings.
My sweet
You know?
dumplings.
Yeah. But yeah, and I watched Stop Motion, which is a movie you
Yeah, I
recommended.
recommended that to you a little while ago. I think I
wasn't
even
a
said
while ago.
like it was a little while. It was a couple weeks ago.
No, it was like 3
I
weeks
watched
ago.
the movie.
Well, I
probably
recommended
like 2
to you
months
that
ago
one
now.
movie, and you still haven't watched it.
We don't
so,
have to get into it. How did you like Stop Motion?
It was a really fun movie. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed even from the beginning, like the initial scene from the like party. It was like it was awesome. Like immediately, I was like, "This is awesome." It's gonna be a visual feast. This movie, this interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And and just like the kind of pretty cool in terms of theming of like creating and
Being consumed by the need to create,
by the need
or
to
perhaps
create.
a legacy, confusing legacy
exactly.
and
exactly.
creation.
And
I guess
I thought it was interesting because I was thinking it's like the legacy to living up to the legacy of your parent that's part of this, and also just like that parent not being able to finish their legacy, like that sort of thing, like because there is that final movie like that, and
on top of that, trying to one up them even.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to like be more than them. It's just it's a really solid horror movie.
Yeah,
There's great effects. The stop motion is all really well done. They're shooting that shit on Dragon Frame. I remember using that in university. It was all like, it's just a good ass movie about horror, the horror of creation.
Horror.
The horror of
everybody
mind.
don't create. That's the movie.
Honestly,
the
we've got
message
enough.
at the end of a movie is like
this.
sorry.
No,
It's too scary, to create.
It's scary to create.
Too scary to
It
create,
Sometimes you have to cut some people up as well to do it.
Yeah,
This was the first time in a long time that I was watching a movie and I did get squeamish.
Yeah,
Near the end,
where
the bit when she's like cutting into her leg.
That's
That's the first time in a
rough.
long time that I've been in a cinema watching it and being like kind of tensing up a bit and recoiling.
I did recoil, like especially when she pulls like a vein. Basically. That was rough.
Man.
That was very bad. But yeah,
good effects, great effects, because you really you get aye.
And I was you get the little like stop motion sections of the movie that are really fun and stuff. But and
all getting more and more grotesque as they go.
Mm-hmm.
And a great conclusion. I really like the climax of the film. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Good ass movie. Good ass movie. I'm glad you watched it, man.
Yeah, I just saw it, and then I saw that you read. I remember that you recommended it, and I
You're
was
like,
like,
I
"All
think
right, I'm gonna."
somebody told me something about this movie.
Yeah, yeah, somebody. But should I listen to him? Because he never listens to any
He's
of my recommendations.
He's really stupid, and the stuff he likes generally sucks complete shit. So
He's got this obsession of like, watch this thing about creativity.
keeps talking about creativity like he's the only person who knows.
Mm-hmm.
I should kill him.
Have you ever heard about this creativity thing, everybody? This new
heard
drug
of this being creative thing?
and this
It's
on the
inside.
market. Have you guys
It's
the
inside.
drug market? Creativity.
Inside.
But yeah, and I don't know. I finished up the helmet too. Finally finished it
Yeah.
up. So, except for the visor,
Yeah.
which I can't do because it requires a vacuum former that I can't really. I've built one, but I don't have a heating element that I can actually heat the plastic with to do the vacuum forming with. So that sucks. And
You just use like an air dryer, dude.
yes.
Just point that shit at it, and then
You're right. You're right,
for
Ben.
like
It
20
is my
minutes.
fault that it's not working.
I'm not saying it's your fault. It's not. I'm just giving you an idea,
I'm just
man.
not trying hard enough,
Oh my god, what is your
just
problem,
no.
bro?
You just, that's.
But I can't try and help my friend by suggesting great ideas, like point a hairdryer at it.
Yeah.
Just let that shit run for like 20 minutes.
Have you ever tried trying harder? Have you ever thought about that? But yeah.
And before you know it, you're done.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
What have you watched?
I watched 2 movies this week.
Two?
brand new films. Brand new films.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm going to say it now. Tomorrow, I'm going to see that Beaver movie at the cinema. Because they're showing it near me.
Yeah, they did. I did saw the fact that it was coming to the UK. The hundreds and hundreds of beavers, right? That's what it's
Hundreds of
called.
beavers. Seeing it tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
I've watched it.
Yeah, we
it's
talked
pretty
about
fun.
it on the podcast.
It'll be interesting to
And
see what you think about it.
I believe I lamented the fact that although they kept saying, please buy the film
Please
digitally
buy
from
it,
us, don't pirate it, we need money, I was totally down for that. I can't buy it in the country.
Yeah.
they wouldn't let me. Go to a site, sorry, we can't
Not
sell it to you, buddy.
available.
Like, well, all right, I'm not going to pirate it because you asked me not to, and I respect that, but I guess I'll just wait. And wait, I did, because I'm seeing it tomorrow. But that doesn't matter, because I'll end up talking about it next week at that point.
Yeah.
Last week I saw a movie called Kill.
Mm-hmm.
Indian revenge movie.
Yeah.
Not to be too reductive, but it is a very straightforward movie. Its main draw is its action and choreography, which is all excellent. Grade A stuff. But yeah, not to be too reductive, but I would say really picture in your mind Die Hard meets John Wick on a train. It's pretty much what you get. You got a nice enclosed space, really nice tight enclosed space. Some bad guys get on the train, they start fucking with people. There's one super guy there who's gonna kick their ass.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like we should put more movies on the train, honestly.
Trains are a good setting. It's difficult to do. A lot of the time I was thinking, because here's the thing, it's difficult to do because it's like it's hard to get in some wide shots, I think, on a train, because there's not a lot of space for a wide
camera
shot
setup,
if you're not shooting down the train, so down the carriage. But this movie does a very good job. You get some shots from outside. It made me think a lot about Monkey Man, which I saw earlier this year. Not so much because they're both Indian films, but rather just like it's like night and day, the level of like
Comparable.
both choreography and also just filming the action, just showing it and making it being able to read it on the screen,
Yeah,
because Monkey Man, I had a lot of issues with like the level of the amount of like, I think I've said this on the podcast before, but the amount of like just mid shots, everything's like waist up in that movie, and I can never tell what's happening in any of the fight scenes. Whereas in this movie, it's all there's a nice variation of the amount of like shots. They're all like nice and clear, and you can see the action, but the choreography is still good, so you never really know. There's so much of the guy smashing people's heads into things.
Nice.
Just like back of the head, down, bam, into a sink, bam.
Well.
But it's awesome, dude. I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm hoping I can get you and Gabs to watch it this weekend when we hang out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think you guys would enjoy the action of it.
Yeah.
But suffice to say, something I did enjoy about this movie is that his enemies. It's a very specific amount of enemies that he has in the film. You know, like Die Hard, there's a very specific amount of terrorists he has to deal with. In this movie, they're bandits. They're literally like just train robbers. They feel as resilient as the protagonist, you know? There's still a lot of like, this guy is fighting way harder than his body should be allowing him, you know?
Yeah.
In terms of stamina, but it's pretty even because you have the exact same thing with the enemies as well. You get like, okay, it doesn't feel like he's really out. He is, but also he isn't, because they keep also getting back up eventually, you know?
Yeah. There's the power level isn't like too kind of like he's punching them like once and they punching him like 10 times and then he punches them once and they're out. So
exactly. It's not like they do a couple things but then he does a couple things and they're gone from the movie. It's like no, they stick around. They've got some fight in them, you know. Also, great title drop. That's you know, every now and then you see a movie that just has a great title drop, you know.
Yeah.
Great like title.
I have like, to go kill, and then it just pops up.
It's not to that level, but when it does come up, you're like, okay, you lock in, you like lean forward, you're like, okay, here we go, bro. It made me think about Train to Busan a lot, just because of a similar kind of like level of intensity. You know, this guy going through this train, having to like. The train is like an obstacle at times, you know, and how you maneuver through it and how you use the space. It's just good. It's just one of those action movies you see. It's just like, yeah, these guys knew what they were doing. These guys, they got it. They understood.
It isn't a generic approach to action, basically. It's like very well executed action, basically. There isn't just do action.
Like Monkey Man felt very generic, kind of John Wick action.
Yeah,
movie.
Like nobody.
Like nobody. Like nobody. Where it's just like, okay, he's beating him up. He's like, they hit him back. He got stabbed. He's still going. He's pulled out a gun. He goes, they've got a gun. Bang, bang, bang. They dive in for gun. It's kind of boring. This movie, I was like engaged. All of the action set pieces, I was like, yeah. I'm in. Great movie. Maybe one of my favorites of the year so far.
That's a big one. Big title.
Enjoyed it.
I also watched actually some classic kind of movies on like just weird movies. I watched a Finnish movie. Stooges. Yeah, I watched a Finnish movie called A Man Without a Past. Basically, it's like a comedy. Kind of very dry comedy about a guy who kind of basically gets assaulted while he was like traveling, and he loses his memory basically.
Sure. And he goes nobody on them, right?
And he goes nobody on them.
He goes nobody on them. He's like, I'm gonna take back my.
I need to find.
I gotta take revenge on the guys.
Yeah, they took my memory. You know, I need to
get my memory back by beating them up.
Yeah,
because now they've made me nobody.
Yeah,
and that's the strength of nobody like me, is that I come out of nowhere. They don't see me coming.
Yeah, and it was played by I don't know. I don't know what Ben Odenkirk. Yeah, exactly. Would be a version of a Finnish version of his name. But yeah, that was an interesting kind of like. I was watching the movie and I was like, this is interesting. You know, like it's like it shows this journey of like basically he's homeless. And is like kind of building up his life again, you know, sort of thing. That's and it's like it's like an urban survival story, you know, rather than a jungle. You know, someone, you know, a plane crashes and they have to survive against the wilderness, right? This is a show, like, this movie, like, a mirror of that movie in terms of, like, this is him surviving in Helsinki, basically, you know, from zero, you know? And I was, like, looking at it, I was like, this has, like, really kind of dark humor, dry humor sort of approach to the way it's shot, and the performances are very kind of, like, stilted, but kind of purposefully stilted, which is, like, yeah, it's a very kind of interesting movie to have watched, because this is, like, maybe, like, one of the very few Finnish movies that I probably watched in my so I might check out more Finnish cinema, basically.
Well, I saw a Finnish film last year called Fallen Leaves.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to also try to watch that, because I've seen.
It's a good movie.
I think it's the same director, actually. Let me check this. Falling Leaves. That's what it's called, right?
Fallen. Aki Karasmaki.
Leaves.
Look.
Oh no, because this is a new movie. Okay.
Yeah, it came out last year.
But yeah, that was a fun film, and though it's the same. He was a producer on that movie. He wasn't a director. He was also a producer on The Fallen Leaves. Okay, all right. Yeah, but that was interesting to kind of see that, and also I watched a weird kind of, like, I don't know why, honestly, I just kind of saw it, and the title kind of was like, all right, this is a really long title. And it was pretty short, and I already watched the movie, and I was like, I'll watch something shorter. And it was called If Footmen Tire You, What Will Horses Do?
That's a long title.
And
it's quite a mouthful.
It's basically a piece of Christian propaganda, basically.
This is this movie that you were talking about.
Right? Yeah, it's from the 1970s, 1971, where it got released. And it's very interesting, kind of, to just see, like, honestly, if I saw that, like, in the 70s, I would be scared. I would be scared shitless.
Become religious?
I don't know, I'd be very terrified of communists, I think, more than anything. I don't think back in those days you really had to do a lot for people to kind of turn to Christ, I guess, in those times. But, like, you would be very much like, this is, like, portrays communism, or anybody really that lives in a communist country as, like, a monster, you know, sort of thing.
Which is true,
you know, and and it is interesting to kind of have a little bit of an insight, and it's, like, not well produced, but it's, like, you know, they have little skits and stuff that they do, you know, of, like, like, I love there was a bit where it's, like, based on a real event or something like that, or, like, you know, recreation of a real event, that the guy goes in and, like, steals children or something like that from like a couple, and it's like, all right, I guess, you know.
And then Jonathan Frakes comes out at the end, and he's like, "Do you think that really happened? Do you think that couple really had their baby stolen?" And it's a fact.
It's a fact. It's true.
Communists did this last week.
Yeah, there was that one bit that I've showed you the bit of where it's like, you know,
the sex education thing.
Yeah, the sex education.
Liberals are trying to teach your kids how to have sex.
Yeah, and what 7 pleasure zones on a woman, and it goes number 1, and then it cuts, and he's like, and other things they'll teach them. Like, and I like the idea
that you shouldn't know about how to make your partner happy.
Yeah,
you shouldn't know about that.
Yeah, but at least it's just like, I don't know if, like, that's even what sex education kind of looked like in general, you know? Yeah. And you know, it's just like any kind of talk of sexuality is, like, completely, you know,
demonized,
devilish, you know, that's what it's portrayed as, you know.
If God wanted us to learn about that, he would have put it in the Bible.
In the Bible, yeah. Don't let your semen fall on the dusty ground or whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it is very interesting, you know. I was curious what you would say, honestly. It was like, we'll learn about the 7 pleasure zones on a woman, number 1, and then it cuts. And I was like,
Yeah,
what?
man, I
What's
only
number
thought there
1?
I thought there was only one.
Yeah, I thought there was only one. You go
The
like
elbow.
this, you know? The elbow, you know? You lick the elbow.
He's telling me that's wrong?
Yeah. Fuck, they should have taught me that in school, and now I don't know.
These Christians had to take away the pleasure zones from me. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly. Actually, there's only one pleasure zone, and it's Jesus Christ.
Damn, it's Christ. You have to appeal to their love of Christ to make them come.
To make them
That could be a description.
What?
That could be the episode description.
Jesus
appeal to
makes you
Christ.
come.
Appeal to their love of Christ to make them come.
No, I don't. No, that's too much.
I'm writing it down for now anyway. I'll see how I feel in the light
in the oven. It's in the
I'll let that one sizzle a bit.
It's in the quick and ready or whatever, and Little Caesars, you know.
It's too
hot
long.
and ready.
It's too long for a title, but it's a good one for a description.
Mm-hmm. It's basically as good as a title as if Footmen tire you, what will horses do, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that was interesting to kind of have an insight into like this. I guess we as people that didn't live in general in America, right? We are exposed to a lot of media, right? A lot of pop culture.
We live over here in liberal Europe.
Yeah, and you know, like I'm trying to think of like what stuff have I watched that could be considered that, you know, when I was a kid or something. Probably I remember like watching some religious cartoons and stuff, but nothing that stuck in my head because I was such a devil. I was such a I hate Jesus.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think I ever saw any. I don't think I ever saw any religious cartoons as a kid.
Yeah, it was because I was in Poland. You know, I was like, you know, that's a bit of a different, you know.
No, yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong because I didn't. I'm just saying I don't think I did.
No, it's like a bigger chance because it's the UK is such a godless country, you know.
Yeah, definitely, dude. We love atheism here.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for when we don't.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know.
God and country. But yeah, it's yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. Like we don't get to see that as much, that like weird part of America, you know, like commercials for like
the Bible
drugs,
Belt.
Not just that, but like even commercials for like drugs, you know, like medical drugs, like prescribed drugs.
Ask your doctor for this or whatever.
Yeah.
They got a whole lot of fucked up shit over there.
Yeah, they have things like we don't get to, we don't choose to see those things, you know, as much as we choose to go see a movie, right?
Like, you know what else they got over there?
Yeah.
The motorcycle gangs.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I watched a movie about that on Saturday called The Bike Riders.
You remember now?
It's about how a club, a simple club made by an autistic adult, can go so horribly wrong once you let veterans in. You know.
Oh, he was like, I like my motorcycles, and then they're like,
Tom Hardy
racist.
Tom Hardy plays like the guy that started this motorcycle club, the Chicago Vandals or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That's a cool name.
The way that is a cool name. The way they portray it, though, it's one of those things where it's like, obviously, I don't know if the actual guy was like this, but the way Tom Hardy is portraying him makes me feel like if this guy was alive today, he could be diagnosed with autism. Just because it's like the way it starts is like the lady that one of the two like the movie's kind of like framed as like an interview between. It's based on a real story. It's based on a guy who wrote a book about this gang. Who was a photographer who was taking pictures of them and writing a book at the same time. And he's interviewing.
What years is those? Is that 70s? What time is
late
this?
60s, early 70s.
Oh, okay.
I think the movie ends around 1970, 71.
It's like Vietnam War.
Yeah, the Vietnam War is a sort of part of it. It's a bit about like the lost men, I guess, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Austin Butler's character, Benny, is supposed to be very much like a free spirit, you know?
Yeah.
You can't tie him down. He just loves his bike. He loves going out on his bike so much. He loves being free. and he's got this wife who's trying to hold him back, but
tie him
he
down.
doesn't know if he can stay with her because he wants to be free.
Yeah.
And this guy, Tom Hardy's character, is platonically in love with him essentially because he represents everything that he wants to be in terms of because Tom Hardy's character, he's got a wife, he's got 2 daughters. How this club started. Literally, he's watching a movie and he's watching it really intently. And Marlon Brando is a cool biker in the movie, and he was so inspired by Marlon Brando, he just made a club. But he's really awkward in the film, man. The way Tom Hardy portrays him is like I feel like he's a little autistic the way he's doing it. You know, he's literally like he's watching this movie so intently, and Marlon Brando has a line. This lady asks him like, "What's your problem exactly?" And Marlon Brando goes like, "How many do you want?" And the Tom Hardy watching the movie is sitting there on the cinema. Under his breath he starts going, "Yeah, how many do you want? Yeah, how many do you want?" His wife goes, "What did you say?" And he's like, "Nothing, no." He's got such a strange accent. He's like, "Oh yeah, what do you want? What do you want?"
Tom Hardy always has a strange accent.
No, Tom Hardy, I'm from Chicago. I'm running my gang of bikers. Oh, I'm the boss. You wanna? But it's funny, man. It's a bit of a funny movie. It's I don't know if I'd say it's worth watching. It's entertaining and it's interesting.
More bigger
you've seen worse movies, I'm sure. But it's crazy because I'm watching it and it's like the way they're portraying it is like, because the youth got involved, you know. The youth got too involved and they took it too seriously. They started using it for crime, you know, running drugs, you know, killing people and assassinating people. That's when biking went bad. But in Tom Hardy's time, you know, when he was in charge of the stuff, it was all nice and fun and stuff, and they were just hanging out on their motorcycles. They liked the freedom it gave them, you know.
Just riding around.
You see some of their outfits, and it's like
they would be free. They would be easy. They would
see some of the jackets in Tom Hardy's gang, and it's like some of these guys got like, you know, some of them got like iron crosses and stuff. You're like, I don't know. I don't know if they were really on the up and up before the youth.
It wasn't as taboo back then. Yeah. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
But there's I mean, I think that's true. Obviously,
people really liked
you had the World War I like German stuff for the helmets with the spikes. And
a lot of people liked the militarism and kind of like the German army, fascist, you know, Nazi army. Pulled off a cool national, cool army look that everybody copied them from that point on. So, you know, they did something right, I guess, in that way. Except they did horrible things. I'm not saying they did things right.
It's interesting because it's like the way the movie portrays it is that, like, early on it was pretty much just a bunch of, like,
guys hanging
30 to 45-year-old guys in the 60s who wanted a big motorcycle and they'd hang out. They'd go out at night, they'd drink, they'd ride around on their motorcycles, and they'd go home because they all
driving, of course.
They all had like wives and kids and stuff, and they were just hanging out. But unfortunately, they were too cool that when criminal youths saw them, they were like, "I want to be cool, but like that guy."
Yeah,
there's a bit early on where
I'm taking it because of my kind of. What's it called? Like, you know, youthfulness, you know, I am taking it too far, you know, sort of thing. You know. Immaturity, because of my immaturity, I take it too far.
But also they took it more seriously than the older guys. But then, you know, Vietnam was ending, and a lot of guys who weren't very well came in and got involved. And they were maybe a bit more intense than everybody wanted them to be.
And they had the skills to do it too.
Yeah, they were rough. But it's a lot about, like, I think, you know, lost men.
Yeah.
Because it's not just like the veterans coming home who have nothing to do, but also like those who just don't really have like a proper place in the society that was there, trying to find their own individuality and freedom, I guess.
Yeah.
But there was some funny. There's good performances, you know. Tom Hardy's good in it. Overall, I think.
Is Venom there too in this movie?
Yeah, his wife is Venom. Turns out. is a symbiote. There's a great bit where there's like, oh yeah, because they like to pretend tough, that when they actually have to be tough, they're like really awkward about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good bit when the lady who's kind of like narrating the story is talking about this one time a guy challenged Johnny over something, the guy that ran the club, Tom Hardy's character, because he was like, oh, I've got some buddies who want to open their own chapter of the club. Can we do that? And Tom Hardy's character is like, nah. Nah. And the guy was like, well, I think they should, so I challenge you. And they're like, just everybody's like really awkward because they're like, we haven't done this before. Like, we wrote this rule down, but we never thought we'd actually do it. Yeah, they had rules planned, but nobody's ever like done it before. Yeah. And Tom Hardy's just like, okay, do you want to do fists or knives? And the guy who's challenging him is like, well, I don't want to kill you, so fists, I guess.
Yeah.
And Tom Hardy's like, okay, well, I guess we'll do that this weekend. Then the next scene is like, it's the weekend. All of the bikers are there, but also all of their families, and they're like having a big picnic, and it's like a big event. It's like a big gathering of this group and their families. These two guys fight. Tom Hardy's character gets really into it. You know, they're going at it. He like breaks the other guy's finger, and then in the end, they stop fighting. He's like, yeah, tell those guys they can open their own chapter. It's like, these guys, they were just fucking about. They really were just like having fun. But then, you know, it goes a bit crazy because he really did love Austin Butler's character because he was just such an awesome, hot, sexy, free spirit. You know, he was so what's the word? He was so like attached to the gang, you know.
Yeah.
Even though everybody hated bikers, and he would go out for a drink, some guys would come up and be like, take your jacket off. You're not allowed to wear shit like that here. Even though Austin Butler's character, Benny, he could just take it off. He's like, nah. And then they kicked the shit out of him. They nearly cut his leg off.
Fuck, okay.
With a shovel. And and it could have been avoided if he just took his collars off, but he was like, nah, I'm not going to. Because he just believed in it so much, you know. It was his. It's like Nick Cage's character in fucking Wilder Heart. Yeah, Wilder Heart. I completely. I kept wanting to say Lost Highway, but it's not.
I was also going to say like.
It's like it's
something about Vegas. I was going to think about when I was like, what? But that sounds. I might give it a watch. It sounds interesting.
It's not bad. It's you know, it's a fine movie, good performances and stuff.
I do agree with you, Ben. We should make our own gang.
You want to make a gang?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like our name carries over pretty well. We could just be Dead Ensigns. The gang Dead Ensigns.
We'll be wearing like our outfits are gonna be like the, you know, the like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Show or whatever. They had like the military, but like it's like this
cartoonish,
colorful. Yeah, like colorful, but like the kind of French sort of like or uniforms from those like
lapels and stuff.
Napoleonic Wars, right? That sort of like uniform rather than like leather jackets and stuff.
You want to go that? We can be our uniform.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
And then
I feel like most people would think nowadays. I think most people would think that we're doing like a Black Parade thing, you know, My Chemical Romance.
Oh yeah, that's.
I feel like they kind of even if it would be colorful, I feel like they kind of co-opted the look.
But then we'll go like, just break your legs if you say that.
Yeah, I think we'll.
I take it too far. I'll take it too far. You'll be like, Max, stop.
I'm gonna be like, this club isn't how it used to be. This isn't what I wanted this club to be. And then we'll split off into two separate clubs. You know.
Yeah.
We won't have control. We'll go to war about whose chapter is a true one.
Yeah.
But we'll figure all that stuff out later.
Yeah. We'll have a fist fight at the end. We're gonna punch each other. But then and then with the final punch. You know, we miss our punches, but we embrace instead. You know, and then we realize what we turned into. You know,
how far we've come, how far away from
and we
the
cry.
vision.
we cry manly tears.
And then the other guys who we recruited, who are way more intense than us, are
they
like,
shoot us, they
what
kill
the
us.
fuck? They just beat us to death.
They set our bodies on fire, and we'll never be found
Yeah,
again.
yeah. It was a shame we were having an oil wrestling contest of all things.
And don't
It
make
made
a
it way
movie
easier
about
for
us.
them.
Tom Hardy's gonna play me.
Oh, can't I be Tom Hardy?
You can get someone else. You pick someone else. I already booked Tom Hardy.
Okay, I want to be. I choose.
You choose.
I choose Lawrence Fishburne to play me.
Okay, I like.
Yeah. Lawrence Fishburne and Tom Hardy. Dead Ensigns, the movie.
I don't know why. Lawrence Fishburne is just like he hasn't been in anything, and he's just like he suddenly appears in.
What are you
Dead
talking
Ensigns,
about? He
the
was
movie.
in John Wick, bro. Dude, he's in that
well.
new Francis Ford Coppola movie, Megalopolis. I saw a trailer for that before.
yeah.
Bike Riders.
Fuck,
and I was
okay.
like, man, I can't wait to see that movie. It's going to be
Okay.
so awesome. Lawrence Fishburne was in the trailer. I was like,
Nice,
yes,
nice.
man,
Yeah.
let's go. This movie
Mhm.
is either going to be like... Honestly, I feel annoying, but going into it, I feel like I'm going to like it. Even if it's bad or if it's the best film I've ever seen, I'm going to come out and be like, that movie was special.
Mm-hmm.
That movie was
All right.
important. I
Are you
don't know.
sure you
We'll
want
see,
to
we'll
do
see.
this? Are you sure you want to hype yourself up like that?
Yes, and
Okay.
I'm going to commit to it by saying it's the end of the episode, so we're not even going to talk about it anymore. You can't even talk me out of it.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to Dead Ensigns. I've been Ben. This has been Mix.
That's me.
If you'd like to engage with the podcast, you can do so at deadensigns@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment on YouTube, where you can watch the podcast too. You can write a comment right on this episode, and we'll look at it next time. But if you don't want to do that, you can also check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, all that stuff. And you can rate and subscribe, and all that stuff would be nice. Until then, thank you very much. I love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
It's shorted out, sir. We're gonna have to phaser it.
Then what are you waiting for?
Right away, sir.
Faster would be better, Ensign.
I can't, sir. We don't want to...
That's enough.
But, sir...
Stand aside, Carlton. I'm going through. You're alive. Good.